rarely stay contained once more countries get involved. When attacks reach nations,
some of the things they might be technical.
We're charging you.
Israel has conducted operations in targeting Iranian military.
They have influence over who gets nominated as mayoral candidates.
And in that show, he called some of the MPs, in fact, not even some, he called and referred to the MPs as crooks. Hello and welcome to What If cAfrica. My name is Busisiwe and this is the show that keeps you up to date with the world's current affairs. Today we're going to look at a question that could affect the entire world. What if the growing conflict in the Middle East turns into an oil war? Recent reports have shown that the tensions between Iran, Israel, and their allies are escalating after strikes targeted at Iran's oil infrastructure. These attacks caused huge fires and toxic smoke around Tehran and raised fears of environmental as well as economic consequences. In response, Iran has warned that it could target oil facilities in the Gulf region, saying such actions would be a retaliation for the attacks on its energy infrastructure. So today we're going to explore something important. What if this conflict spreads into the global supply? To understand the situation, we first must understand how important the Middle East is to global energy. A large portion of the oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz, which is a narrow waterway that connects the Persian Gulf to the global market. Some estimates suggest that around 20% of the world's oil supply travels through this route. Now, imagine if this route became dangerous or blocked. Oil tankers may stop moving, energy companies may suspend operations, and countries may panic and start buying oil reserves. And suddenly, something that happened 1,000 kilometers away could affect fuel prices, food prices, and electricity costs, and that would affect the world. In recent days, several oil facilities in the region have already been affected. Some refineries as well as terminals in countries like Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar have reported disruptions and attacks as the conflict spreads. Even one attack on a major refinery can send shockwaves through the global markets. Oil prices have already spiked during this conflict, with experts warning that if the situation escalates further, the economic consequences could be serious. So one big question becomes, what if the oil infrastructure becomes the main battlefield? When oil prices rise, the effect spread everywhere. Transport becomes expensive, airline tickets go up, and food prices increase because farmers rely on fuel to transport their crops. Even electricity prices can rise in some countries that depend on oil and gas. And remember, Africa is not isolated from this. If global oil prices surge, many African economies could feel the pressure through rising fuel costs and inflation. So while the conflict may be happening in the Middle East, the consequences would be felt in cities, towns, and villages across the world. Another important question to ask would be, what if diplomacy fails? History shows that conflicts involving major powers rarely stay contained for long. When multiple countries become involved directly or indirectly, the risk of escalation increases. Already, this conflict has missile strikes, drone attacks, and retaliation across several countries of the region. If more nations get involved, the conflict could spread beyond borders, impacting global stability. But at the same time, many international organizations and governments are calling for a de-escalation and negotiation, because everyone understands one thing: a wider war would benefit no one. Let's take a quick break. When we return, we look at another what-if question, questioning if this crisis could transition people away from using oil to other energy sources. For more content like this, you can visit our website at www.cAfrica.tv to purchase our cAfrica TV stick for just $999, once off, no subscription, and unlimited access to African content. The war in the Middle East has impacted shipping of oil. What if this crisis pushes the world to escalate the transition away from oil?
Built for Africa, designed for the world, revolutionizing how Africa watches television. Stream smarter, play harder, pay nothing. Access live African channels, global apps, radio and games instantly. 4K Ultra HD, a voice remote, Bluetooth game controller, and no monthly fees. Over 1,000 free movies and documentaries, African stories front and center. Whether you're vibing to radio, binging shows, or gaming with friends, the cAfrica TV stick brings it home. Powerful performance, massive storage, works with any HDMI television.
Hey, surprise!
Cut the costs, not the experience. The cAfrica TV stick is here.
Welcome back to What If cAfrica, the show that keeps you up to date with the world's current affairs. I am still your host, Busisiwe, and we are looking at how the war in the Middle East has impacted shipping of oil. So before the ad break, I said we would explore how this crisis could affect people transitioning from oil to other energy resources. We look at the question that asks, what if this crisis pushes the world to escalate the transition away from oil? Many countries have already started investing heavily in renewable energy, solar power, electric vehicles, and alternative energy resources. Sometimes global crises can force innovation, and history has shown that when energy supply becomes unstable, countries start looking for new ways to power their economies. Could this conflict speed up the global shift towards cleaner energy? It is a possibility. While we are talking about geopolitics and oil markets, we must not forget something very important. There are real people that are affected by this conflict. Families have already been displaced. Communities are facing environmental damage. Cities dealing with smoke, pollution, and economic uncertainty. In Tehran, for example, large fires from the damaged oil storage sites have raised concerns about toxic pollution and health risks. War has always had consequences beyond politics, and those consequences often fall hardest on the ordinary people. So today's question still remains. What if this conflict becomes an oil war? Would it change global energy markets? Would fuel prices skyrocket? Would governments finally accelerate the transition to renewable energy? Or would diplomacy step in before the situation escalates further? These are the questions the world is watching closely for. Because in a connected world, a conflict in one region could cause a ripple effect to the entire planet. Thank you for watching What If cAfrica, the show that keeps you updated on the world's current affairs. And remember, for more content such as this, you can visit our website at www.cAfrica.tv to purchase our cAfrica TV stick for just $999, with no subscription and unlimited access to African content. Till next time, stay safe and stay informed. Rarely stay contained once more countries get involved. When attacks reach nations,
Some of the things, they might be technical.
We're charging you.
Israel has conducted operations in targeting Iranian military.
They have little influence over who gets nominated as mayoral candidates.
And in that show, called some of the MPs, in fact, not even some, he called and referred to the MPs as crooks.